Hey guys, welcome back. Let's chat with my friend. I've already got 14,000 bells. It's a good thing she didn't ask me for, can I have some money? I already caught a firefly, I think. Whoa, get rage up. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm on fire. Oh, what did I get? 5,000. I've done it. I did have a note for today. I don't know if it's gonna be weird for me to talk about this because it's gonna be I'm shoehorning this topic and I guess I thought about it. Well, I've been watching a lot of like John Oliver or whatever and late night shows and stuff, and they've been talking about these protests, and they keep quoting this book called The New Jim Crow. And I was like, oh, I read that book. And I was looking for topics, so I thought I'm going to talk about it. But let's wait. Okay, here we go. I've done it, right? You'd like to pay your fees. So what happens now? I don't know. Do I get like an actual house? You're free and clear of debt. Could be better. I'm glad you said that. Oh, no. I don't want to make him sad. Here we go. Well, let's do it. When you access the next stop, you'll be able to redeem your miles for lots of interesting... Wait a second. You're telling me that I can use my Nook miles for stuff other than the house? Tom Nook, that don't make no sense. You introduced the Nook miles because you wanted to separate it from buying stuff, right? That's the only reason why you would do it. But now you're using it to buy other stuff. What's the point of that? Okay, don't judge it too harshly yet. What can you use the Nook miles for? I'm not sure. He did say that, right? I'm not crazy. Let's build it. Oh. Okay. He's gonna say 98,000 bells, but he's gonna convert it to Nook miles, right? Otherwise my mind is gonna explode. Ooh, what color? Stop being so squeaky. I want blue. Ooh, aqua. I wonder what the difference is. What are you talking about? Nook Miles Plus. Wait, did they already do it? No, you have to wait, right? Okay. If you pay... I don't understand what they're doing. If you have to pay for your home and bells, then what is going on? It doesn't make any sense. I'm all good. Yeah, you guys won't be able to see my new house. I know you're so disappointed. So what was I talking about? The New Jim Crow. It's a book about mass incarceration. So when I was in college, I took a class called From Plantation to White House. It was like a history class about this black people in America. And I remember taking it because I did the thing that I mentioned. Let's clean up my town a little bit. I mentioned before that what I used to do was I would test classes to see if I would have to talk a lot in them. So, but I remember this one year, actually it happened twice, where I tested a class, then it was like, oh, it's going to be too much talking, so I dropped it. Then I went to another class and I dropped it, and it got to a point where I kind of I couldn't drop it anymore because the time was running out. You can only do that for like a couple weeks. Otherwise, obviously, you fall behind in the class that you eventually join. And I took this class. I remember it was called Computers in Society or something. And I thought, that might be okay. But I took it. I remember the class was super small. It was like 15 kids. And the teacher was constantly talking to kids. He's like, we're going to have debates, and we're going to read this book, and we'll have 2 kids come up and debate. And I was like, whoa, no. Abort. I'm not taking this class. I forget what the other ones were, but eventually I thought, okay, this history class about slavery, that might be okay. I went, and it was kind of like a lecture, so I thought, okay, this might be okay. It turned out to be kind of a hard class for me because there was a recitation, which I think at the time I had never taken a recitation, so I didn't know what it was. But basically, you take a big lecture twice a week, then once a week you do a recitation where it's like a 15 to 20 person's sized class, and you write papers, and you give the papers, and you talk about the book you're reading and stuff like that. And I didn't like going to that one. I remember the recitation teacher was pretty okay. He didn't force people to talk, but it was still kind of scary to go to, because at any moment he could ask, hey, what'd you think about this chapter of the book? And I wouldn't have been able to say anything. That might have happened once or twice, but and also it was a lot of reading. I don't really like reading, but I do remember actually reading the book. We read like 5 books or something, which was crazy. And one of them was called The New Jim Crow. I don't remember too much about it, just that it was a long time ago that I read it. I might still have some of the papers I wrote about it on my computer. Hey, who's this? What? Is that a Little Mermaid reference? Are Flotsam and Jetsam in The Little Mermaid in reference to something else, like an old book or something? I don't know. So, I don't know. I mean, I just remember the basic stuff about mass incarceration, which is like, it's bad. But I think the idea is that incarcerating black people was a way to get around when slavery was abolished. People were still racist, and they didn't want, or the system was inherently racist. I don't want to say people were racist, even though they were, but they were part of the system that was racist. And it was hard to, it just, okay, 13th Amendment is ratified, and now you black people are just free, and they have to be integrated into society. And obviously Jim Crow happened. And then this book is saying that the new Jim Crow is mass incarceration. Jim Crow was just like, well, black people can be free, but they can just stay separate from us because, well, they're different, so, right? They have to be separate. But equal, of course. Then the new Jim Crow, so there's a civil rights movement, and which is the one that said separate but equal is bad? Brown versus Board of Education or something? So no more separate schools, no more separate water fountains. But the system is still racist. People still want to be racist. They don't want to include black people, so a big part of it, I guess, is drugs. I guess I don't super remember everything about it, but I'll just try to say what I remember, which was, well, something that I remember is that the 13th Amendment abolishes slavery, technically, except in the case of, oh, Gladys Rose is playing Animal Crossing. That's funny. I only have one friend on here. It's Gladys. on the Switch. I should tell my brother I bought a Switch, because he has a Switch, but I don't know. I'm out of time. I didn't really talk very smartly about the new Jim Crow, did I? I spent the whole time talking about why I was afraid of that class. So putting black people in jail was another way to enslave them that was technically legal still after slavery was illegal. That's part of it. Then the idea of the new Jim Crow is that it was a way to separate black people from your community, because if you're racist, you don't want black people in your community, so what do? You put them in jail. How do you put them in jail? You say, well, what do black people do? I guess that white people don't do, and you can say, well, there's more drug selling in that community, so let's just be super harsh about drugs and just put them in jail for forever, and we don't have to worry about them. I think that was the idea. Sorry if I got that wrong. I probably did. I think the book would give accounts from people who lived during Jim Crow and be like, oh, this is similar stuff happening, and would say, give statistics about how black people are incarcerated more than white people. And minorities too, I guess, but I mean, the book is called The New Jim Crow, and Jim Crow was about segregating black people from white people, so I think it was mostly about that. I guess I just wanted credit for being like, oh, I didn't know you took a class about... well, it was called Plantation to White House because when I was in college, obviously, Barack Obama had just gotten elected. So they just started this new class called Plantation to White House. And it was this... the teacher was like this old black woman, and she was really interesting. she would talk about civil rights and stuff. She wasn't that old. She was like maybe 50, but she had kind of lived through some civil rights things. Not really, but yeah, I mean, the 60s and the 70s were still crazy. Even though she was just like a kid during it, but I mean, things are still not perfect now, so can't we all just get along? Okay. Thanks for watching. And Gladys just got a free shout out, so go watch her channel too. You should pay me for that. See you tomorrow.